At the orphanage, when Lin Yanko was being bullied and chased, I volunteered. Let's swap dresses and run separately. She didn't hesitate to exchange dresses with me that day. I was beaten badly and ran all the way to the villa area. I deliberately knelt before the wealthiest man in the capital circle. Uncle, can you save me? He recognized my dress at a glance, saying I was his long-lost daughter. Uncle, can you save me? Covered in wounds, I knelt before the tycoon, tears welling up in my eyes, pleading timidly and humbly. They always bully me and take my things. I can give them anything else, but this dress is the one I wore when I entered the orphanage. Maybe my parents can recognize me if they see the dress. I can't give it to them. The billionaire, who had a cold and indifferent expression, showed a look of astonishment after glancing at the dress I was wearing. He bent down to examine the sleeve of my right hand, where there was pink lace with a small duck embroidered inside. It was so subtle that it was barely noticeable. This was sewn by the billionaire's wife herself. Immediately, his eyes reddened, and he reached out to pick me up. His voice trembled with excitement as he said, "Yank, Dad has finally found you." My eyes widened, and I wore an expression of shock and disbelief. "How do you know my name is Yank? Are you really my dad?" The billionaire held me even tighter, his voice trembling. "Yes, it's all Dad's fault. I was too busy with meetings and lost you back then. Now, Dad is taking you home." Only then did I tightly wrap my arms around the billionaire's neck and burst into loud sobs. "Dad, why did it take you so long to find me? I waited for you on the lawn at the amusement park for so long that day. You must never abandon me again." The specific time and place immediately dispelled the tycoon's doubts. After all, he hadn't told anyone about his daughter's disappearance, as it was embarrassing and he feared others would use it against him. He loved his daughter, but he loved himself even more, and his true nature as a businessman was fully revealed. "Yanker, don't worry, Dad will never lose you again," the tycoon assured without hesitation, swearing an oath. With this promise secured, I knew he wouldn't pursue the DNA test anymore, and I had successfully replaced Lin Yank's identity. Glancing down at the dress that Lin Yank cherished so much, now torn in several places, and with many injuries I had taken for her, I smirked coldly. This was just the beginning. This life, I'm going to play her to death. Although in my previous life I had heard Lin Yank introduce her luxurious home, seeing it in person still left me in awe. A dreamy manor, a massive musical fountain, over 30 servants, and daily meals and fruits flown in from abroad. The daily expenses here are enough to support an orphanage for a month. After my shower, I lay on Lin Yank's incredibly soft bed, with white roses blooming all over the garden outside the window, and the air filled with a sweet fragrance. This life of the wealthy is truly indulgent. I casually picked up the photo of Lin Yank taken when she was 6, dressed in a cake-like skirt and wearing a crown on her head, her smile as radiant as a doll's, looking both kind and innocent. In my previous life, I was deceived by this harmless appearance of hers. Even though he could barely eat enough at the orphanage, he always shared some of his food with her. He would rush out to protect her when others bullied her, getting beaten until he was covered in wounds. Several times, I was noticed by wealthy families who wanted to adopt me, but because she cried and said she would be beaten to death by the other kids without me, begging me not to leave, so I softened, refused all the adoption offers, and waited for her to be found by her parents. She was deeply touched, calling me her sister and promising that after she returned home, she would take me with her, to be sisters for life. But not only did she break her promise, she personally sent me to hell. Just 3 days after she found her wealthy parents, she sent someone to pick me up, not to a warm and sweet home, but to an abandoned factory where a group of thugs were already waiting. I was humiliated for 3 full days. They went to great lengths to insult me, and even filmed videos to threaten me. That's not enough. She even sold me to an old bachelor in a mountain village who had beaten 3 wives to death, where I endured inhuman torment every day. After going through countless hardships, I finally escaped and confronted her, asking why she treated me this way. She raised her chin slightly, looking at me with disdain and disgust. "Because I am the daughter of a wealthy tycoon, my body is precious, and my reputation is very important. If people outside knew I had been in an orphanage, they would look down on me and despise me. My marriage partner would also worry about my physical purity. That would be terrible. Sister, didn't you say you would protect me and not let anyone bully me? Now, as long as you die, I can live the rest of my life without any worries, so, go die, yes. So I died ragged under the overpass. Before dying, he was insulted by homeless people and bitten by wild dogs. She sat in the luxury car not far away, watching this scene and laughing just like in the photo, kind and innocent. In her previous life, Lin Yank liked to share and introduce her parents and daily habits to me the most, for example, not liking cilantro, preferring to eat with a Hello Kitty spoon, kissing mom's cheek twice before bed, and always holding dad's hand when going out shopping, so I easily convinced my billionaire parents that I was their biological daughter. At the same time, I also studied hard and didn't miss out on any hobbies: piano, dance, horseback riding, tennis, shooting, swimming, basically. Whatever other kids could do, I could do too, and I was even better than them. Soon, I became the other people's child that parents often mentioned. Not only did I win my parents' all-around love, but I also won the favor of Ji Yenza, Lin Yank's arranged marriage partner. The cool, young master became my little follower, and he would get jealous when he saw me talking to other boys, because I was too outstanding. My 18th birthday celebration was exceptionally grand. Wearing a high-end evening gown worth millions and a crown worth tens of millions, she was surrounded by a group of wealthy young men and women, gentle, elegant, and emotionally intelligent. I was deeply favored by them, and everyone took pride in being my good friend. Today's gifts were also far more valuable than those from previous birthday banquets: jewelry, designer handbags, high-end watches, and luxury cars. Naturally, the parents of the wealthiest man were not willing to fall behind. With a grand gesture, they directly gifted me 5% of the company's original shares, instantly making me a young billionaire. Seeing my radiant smile, Ji Yenja couldn't help but feel a bit displeased. Why don't you look this happy when I give you gifts? It's just a few shares. When I inherit the company, I'll give you half. In the entire capital, only he, the top-tier heir of the elite circle, had the audacity to make such a lavish statement. His family is an old-line aristocracy, their wealth unknown, and they usually keep a low profile, never participating in wealth rankings or flaunting their riches. Yet within the circle, no one fails to address him respectfully as young Master Ji. Even my billionaire parents treat him with flattery and obsequiousness, which gives you an idea of how unfathomable his background is. I giggled softly. All right, then I'll definitely be laughing even more happily when the time comes. He immediately broke into a smile. Great. On the day of her college graduation, Lin Yanker appeared, just like in her previous life. She happened to meet the richest woman while looking for a job and shopping. Lin Yanker recognized the richest woman at a glance and cried openly on the street, and the billionaire's wife was also shocked when she saw that she looked exactly like her younger self. The two of them went straight to get a DNA test, and the results confirmed they were biologically related, so the billionaire's wife immediately took her home. Just as she was tearfully telling the billionaire how miserable her life had been all these years, she saw me and angrily jumped up from the sofa, furiously pointing at my nose. She started yelling, "Zhou Ran Nan, you shameless liar, how dare you show your face here? All these years, you've been living my life by stealing my identity, while I was bullied by everyone in the orphanage, almost beaten to death several times. It's all because of you. You're a selfish, vicious devil. The biggest regret of my life is meeting you and treating you like a good sister, sharing every detail about my parents with you. I won't let this go, and I will never forgive you." Filled with rage, spitting with fury, eyes bloodshot, trembling all over, the expression on her face was just like the one she had when she lured me to the abandoned factory in my past life, where I was raped by thugs. So, she gets this angry too when she encounters betrayal and deception. I displayed just the right amount of shock on my face. "Mom and Dad, am I really not your child?" The wealthy parents remained silent, and Lin Yank directly pulled out an appraisal report, throwing it at me. "Here's the appraisal report, get out of my house right now." This scene was just witnessed by Ji Yanz, who had just finished a phone call and walked in. His face darkened, and he coldly demanded, "Who do you think you are, to speak to Kiki like that?" Ji Yenza, who was already very handsome, looked even more stunning today as he attended a board meeting, dressed in a restrained black bespoke suit paired with gold-rimmed glasses, easily outshining the top idols in the entertainment industry. Lin Yanker blushed the moment she saw him. With a coquettish voice, she said, "Yenza, it's me, Lin Yanker. When we were kids, we used to play bride and groom, and I always played your bride. This person, Zhou Ran, is a liar. In the orphanage, she pretended to be friendly with me, tricked me into revealing all my information, and then impersonated me to reunite with my parents, trying to replace me as the real me. If it weren't for meeting my mom today, I wouldn't know how long I'd be fooled. I'll kick her out right now and sue her, so everyone in the world knows she's a fraud. She thought that upon hearing this, Ji Yanzhe would despise me, loathe me, and drive me away, but in reality, he excitedly wrapped his arm around my shoulder. That's perfect, you can just move into my place. There's an auspicious day for marriage at the end of this month. The richest man hurriedly spoke up. No one is leaving, no one, both of you are our biological daughters. The richest man's wife also came to her senses and chimed in. That's right, if it weren't for Kiki accompanying us all these years, our lives wouldn't have been so happy. It's all fate. Lin Yank was completely dumbfounded, looking at her once most beloved parents with disbelief, wondering how they had become so unfamiliar now. I curled my lips and gave her a provocative smile. Over the years, I have consistently ranked in the top 3 in every exam, which not only greatly satisfied their vanity but also allowed me to befriend the children of influential figures in the circle. What's more, there's the crown prince of the Beijing circle, Ji Yanzhe, who has never left my side. Anyone with a sound mind would know how to choose. Lin Yanko was so angry that she could almost grind her teeth to pieces, but she had to hold back from lashing out. I can let other things slide, but she must change her name as a fake. I don't really care about the name, but it's clear that Ji Yanzhe has an issue with it. He raised an eyebrow, clearly displeased. No, I've been calling her Coco for so many years, and everyone is used to her name. Changing it would be too troublesome for stocks, houses, and so on. You change your name yourself. The young master of the Beijing elite doesn't deal in concepts of true or false. His only creed is that the woman he likes must not suffer the slightest grievance. Although the richest man's wife was somewhat reluctant, it only took a moment's hesitation before she also nodded in agreement. A world where only Lin Yank gets hurt has been achieved. She thought that upon returning, she could drive me away and then take revenge freely, making me pay a painful price for all the things I've done over the years. But the actual outcome is that even her name was taken away. From now on, she will be called Lin Wanchu. It's quite interesting. I sleep in the master bedroom that once belonged to her, sit at the dining table in her seat, and playfully tease the man who was supposed to be her arranged marriage partner. Even the household staff call me the eldest young lady, while she is the second young lady. The richest man, due to Ji Yanzhe's influence, not only dares not to favor me less, but also treats me better than her by a third. Lin Yank was no pushover either. She began to play the delicate, innocent victim. During the meal, the billionaire's wife served her some food, but she shook her head and declined, saying, "Sister, please let me have it. You're in good health and can eat a lot, but if I eat too much, my stomach gets upset." When I was in the orphanage, they always liked to bully me and steal my food. I've long since developed stomach problems from hunger and have gotten used to eating less. This remark made the richest man's wife feel extremely distressed. My poor Wan, I'll call the private doctor to come and take care of your health. You'll be free from illness and disaster from now on. From now on, tell me whatever you want to eat, and I'll make it for you myself. The richest man's wife rarely cooked. She usually only made soup during festivals. Enjoying this special treatment, Lin Yan couldn't wait to give me a provocative smile. "Mom, I still remember the seafood soup you made for me when I was little. It was so delicious." The richest woman immediately nodded indulgently. "All right, Mom will make it for you tomorrow." I chuckled softly and spoke slowly. Originally, Ace wanted to come over for dinner tomorrow, but he's allergic to seafood, so I'll ask him to come another time. As soon as the words were out, the tycoon spoke up. "Then we won't have seafood tomorrow. We can have it in a couple of days instead." Instantly, the smile on Lin Yank's face froze in place. I smiled faintly, deliberately trying to upset her. "Sister, if you're not happy, I'll have Zay come over for dinner next time." Of course, she wasn't happy. Her face turned red with anger, and her nails dug into her flesh, but on the surface, she still managed a gentle and proper smile. "Of course. It's fine, I can eat anytime. Not fond of pretending to be a green tea or a white lotus." "Huh, then I'll let her pretend to her heart's content. The next day, I didn't bring Ji Yenza home, making up some excuse about him being busy with work and rescheduling for another time. My billionaire parents didn't criticize him at all. Instead, they praised him for being accomplished at such a young age, so dedicated to his work, and having a bright future ahead. I didn't specify the exact date when Ji Yenja would return for dinner, so, Lin Yenkai's hope of tasting the seafood soup of the richest man's wife remains distant. Her pent-up anger finally couldn't be contained, and she came to find me that very night. Zhou Ranran, you bitch, you did this on purpose, didn't you? You're jealous that mom promised to make me seafood soup, so you deliberately made up that Ji Yenja would come over for dinner just to stop me from having seafood porridge. I smiled slightly and admitted openly, yes, I did it on purpose. So what are you going to do about it, Lin? Yank gritted her teeth angrily. This is my home, they are my parents, and you are just a fake. I haven't kicked you out yet, that's the greatest mercy I've shown. I chuckled, playing with the Rolex Submariner worth over 3 million on my wrist. You want to kick me out? Where do you get that confidence? You've even lost your name to me, even if you are the biological daughter. So what? I have dual degrees from the top university in the country, my friends are all heirs, and my fiancé is the top prince of the Beijing elite circle. Your bloodline compared to mine is a joke. Lin Yanker was so furious with me that she was about to lose her mind and raised her hand to hit me. Instead, I slapped her across the face, and 5 clear finger marks instantly appeared on her cheek. I smirked coldly. Figure out your place in the future and don't test my patience again. Maybe if I'm in a good mood, I'll spare some affection for your parents. Lin Yanker covered her face, her expression venomous, as she said, Zhou Ranran, don't be too smug for too long. What belongs to me, I will take it back sooner or later. I curled my lips into a cold smile. All right, I'll be waiting with bated breath. Just don't make me wait too long. In her previous life, the children at the orphanage often bullied her, largely because she was foolish. When someone donated money for charity, she would act as proud as a peacock, ignoring everyone, which made the donors think the orphanage didn't need money and naturally wouldn't donate more. Knowing full well that the orphanage's meals were already a struggle to keep everyone fed, she still complained about the food not being refined or tasty, resulting in everyone being punished and going without dinner. Back then, I felt sorry for her. She reminded me so much of my younger sister who had died of illness, which is why I reached out to help her. That was the most regretful thing I did in my previous life, and it cost me my life. Lin Yan, who had been beaten, went to complain to the richest woman in town, crying like a pear blossom bathed in rain, utterly wronged. Mom, I am your biological daughter, so why do you treat Zhou Ranran so well, allowing her to bully me? If you truly don't like me, then there's no need for me to return, I can leave. The richest woman's wife tenderly helped her apply the medicine. My dear daughter, don't cry, my heart breaks every time you cry. We treat her well only because she has value to us, and your father is currently negotiating a major project with the G family. We can't afford to upset them right now, so you'll have to endure this for now. In a few days, I'll take you to a banquet, and I'll arrange for you to spend some time alone with Ji Yenja. As long as you win him over, you can deal with her however you want, and I'll support you. Lin Yank asked excitedly, really, you're not lying to me? Suddenly, she frowned again and said, but Ji Yenja really likes that bitch show. Ran, how could he easily like me? The wife of the wealthiest man chuckled softly, gently stroking her hair with a doting expression. My silly child, winning over a man isn't that difficult. Many things happen naturally after a few drinks. When the time comes, your father and I will step in, and whether Ji Yenja wants to take responsibility or not, he'll have to. Once you're married, there will be plenty of time to build a relationship. Besides, you're so beautiful and clever, he's bound to like you. Lin Yank excitedly hugged the richest man's wife, coquettishly saying, Mom, I knew you were the best to me. I stood on the balcony, watching this scene with a cold smile, having originally come out to admire the moon, but I never expected to also enjoy such a heartwarming scene of motherly love and filial piety. I thought the richest couple were smart people. Over the years, I brought them a steady stream of projects and resources, and several times, I leveraged the information gap from my previous life to propel them to the top of the industry, but I didn't expect that instead of choosing me, who is so outstanding and intelligent and could bring them huge benefits, they would choose someone as useless as Lin Yank. No wonder they could give birth to someone as stupid as Lin Yank. They're all a family of fools. Then don't blame me for calling the shots and sweeping the board. The richest man's wife began paving the way for Lin Yank, taking her shopping and attending various banquets, introducing her as the youngest daughter, who grew up abroad due to poor health. Although Lin Yank had been tutored by etiquette teachers these days, she had never seen the big world before, so her behavior was inevitably timid and not very poised, but the richest man's wife and the other ladies kept praising her for being well-behaved, obedient, and excellent. There was also a sense of belittling me in her words. The other ladies were also shrewd and followed suit with praise, which made Lin Yank quite pleased, thinking she was truly as wonderful and outstanding as they said. Thus, brimming with confidence, she began to get carried away. When dealing with young men and women from families less prestigious than hers, she looked down her nose at them, acting extremely proud, and her two-faced nature was on full display. Little did they know they had become the laughingstock of the circle, yet they were still smugly pleased with themselves. Sister, today Mom took me to a high-end banquet, and everyone really liked me, saying I'm cuter and prettier than you. You're still carrying an ordinary crocodile bag, but mine is a rare, globally limited edition crocodile bag. One of mine could buy 10 of yours, and also, your credit card limit is 3 million, while mine has no limit. I said I would soon take back everything that belongs to me. I propped my cheek with my hand, looking at her with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. It's just a few banquets. I've been attending them since I was a child. I'm sick of them. As for the crocodile bag, how much is it worth? The amount I donate at a single charity banquet is the price of several of your bags. Your credit card has no limit because I own 5% of the company's shares. You don't, so to prevent you from feeling unbalanced, our parents compensated you. When you stand on the same starting line as me, then you can talk big. Instantly, her expression turned extremely unpleasant. Every word precisely struck at her self-esteem. She said indignantly, "Isn't it just company stock? I'll have it soon too." I curled my lips in a mocking smile. Even if you ask our parents for stock, at most you'll just be a company shareholder, while I'm already a board member. In the future, you'll have to wait for me to distribute dividends to you, and of course, that depends on my mood. She was so furious that she slammed the door and stormed out. It was obvious without even thinking. She was going to complain to the billionaire's wife. Sure enough, that evening, the billionaire's wife spoke up. The project director is about to take annual leave, which will last for over half a month. Coco, I originally wanted you to take the top position and learn from it, but then I thought about how other kids have graduation trips, and you've been working so hard for so long, you deserve a break. Since your sister has been back for a while and has nothing to do, I'll let her take that top position for now. You can join the company after your trip. That sounded really nice. After all, I was the one who was supposed to take that position before, but now, with a few light words, it's given to Lin Yanko. If I ask for this position outright, it would make me seem too greedy. If I don't, then it naturally goes to her, and the wife of the richest man gets to play the good person. But if she wants to take what's mine, she'll have to see if she has what it takes. I smiled slightly and said, all right. The wife of the richest man couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Lin Yank gave me a provocative smile. I curled my lips, smiling with deep meaning. Did she really think I'd been wasting my time in this circle all these years? Most of the company's projects were brought in by me, half because of Ji Yenja's influence, and half because of my high emotional intelligence. Now that I'm gone, the company's projects are bound to run into problems. When that happens, she won't just become the company's scapegoat, she'll be kicked out entirely. The next day, I dressed up beautifully and went to find Ji Yenza. Ji Yenza was pleasantly surprised and said, Coco, aren't you about to start as the project director at your parents' company? Why do you have time to come see me? I teased with a smile. Mom felt sorry for me studying too hard, so she let me take a break and let my sister take the job instead. He raised an eyebrow and chuckled. When you were busy with your graduation project a while back, they didn't forget to make you attend charity galas. They never seemed to think you were tired, even when you were running non-stop. Now that everything is done, she's letting her own daughter take the easy way out and reap the benefits. How shameless. No wonder your mom has been parading her in front of my mom lately, praising her to the skies. she's trying to replace you. I chuckled softly and lazily settled into his chair. It seems that way, doesn't it? After all, I'm just an outsider, no matter how hard I try. He bent down, pinching my cheeks with a bold and unrestrained smile. Well, then, why don't you just agree to my marriage proposal early? I'll pack them up and give them to you as betrothal gifts. How about that? I curled my lips in a light smile. No need, I can handle my own affairs. It's you who should be careful, or you might end up drugged and on her bed. Don't blame me for not wanting you either. He naturally understood the implication behind my words. He smirked coldly. If that really happens, it would be suicide. On the surface, I've always been gentle, kind, and harmless to all. Everyone also thought that Ji Yenja liked someone like me, virtuous, well-read, and reasonable. But in reality, he preferred a strong, sophisticated, and cunning woman in a top-tier wealthy family like his. The number of dirty secrets is countless. After seeing so much, he naturally finds naive girls foolish. What he wants is someone who can fight alongside him, someone even more outstanding than him, and ideally, someone who can lead him forward. Coincidentally, I perfectly meet all his requirements for a partner. On the third day after Lin Yank became the director, various problems began to arise in the company's projects. Agreed-upon collaborations were suddenly backed out of, with demands for harsh supplementary clauses added, or else they wouldn't sign. Signed contracts were directly requested to be halted, with no clear start date for resuming work. The production lines were occupied, but production was not allowed. Collaboration projects that were nearly completed were directly terminated, with the other party preferring to pay breach penalties. However, due to long-term prior cooperation, the penalties were pitifully low. Many previously interested cooperation projects have now all disappeared. It's obvious that someone is targeting the company. Another week passed, and the situation not only didn't improve but got even worse. They investigated thoroughly, checking every aspect of the previous project directors, finding nothing, but they also didn't suspect me. After all, I had never worked in a company before, usually just attending charity galas. Everything went so smoothly with this matter because, during a friend's party, I casually mentioned it as if by chance. A sister suddenly appeared in the family, and it's natural for my parents to favor her. I won't have to worry about company affairs anymore. Naturally, my friends stood up for me, and they all canceled their collaborations. Ji Yenja also complained about this at a gathering with friends, and everyone naturally understood what he meant. Moreover, Lin Yan was not good at dealing with people, had average personal conditions, was not a graduate of an Ivy League school, had no outstanding talents, had low emotional intelligence, was snobbish, and not only did no one tell her the truth, but they also all took the opportunity to kick her when she was down. The company's stock also began to fall, getting worse day by day. It came out of nowhere, but it came with full force. The tycoon, who was originally abroad discussing a project, rushed back in a hurry. That evening, the three of them talked in the study until midnight, though the specifics of their conversation remain unknown. But the next day at dinner, the tycoon's wife booked a ticket for me to Milan. She smiled and said, "Coco, I have a sister who's hosting an art exhibition in Milan. You go in my place, buy a few paintings you find beautiful, and while you're there, check out the fashion show for any outfits suitable for your and your sister's company's annual party." From the art exhibition to the fashion show, the time span is 1 week. This week happens to be the birthday of a big shot in the circle, and Ji Yenja will definitely attend, so, the purpose of keeping me away is obvious. Without guessing, I obediently nodded and said, "Okay, Mom." After hearing my response, all three of them couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. I curled my lips into a cold smile. They actually dared to drug Ji Yenza. They really don't fear death. The week abroad on vacation felt really great. This time, the richest man's wife was clearly being generous, giving me an unlimited credit card to spend as I please. In the past, I wasn't particularly interested in luxury goods. Only those with an empty heart would use luxury items to label themselves, hoping others would look up to them. But now I'm different. I'm quite free, and after all the immense wealth I've brought them over the years, it's time to collect a little interest. So I started swiping my card non-stop, buying millions worth of watches and bags, high-end custom jewelry. As if they were free, it felt refreshing and exhilarating, and my mood couldn't be better. But the parents of the richest man and Lin Yankai, who attended the banquet, were not only in a bad mood but also extremely upset, because they had originally planned to drug Ji Yanze, but the drugged wine was accidentally consumed by Lin Yankai. When she went to the room to rest, she even entered the wrong room, going into the room next door to Zhou Kong. The couple of the richest man brought people to knock on the door, and they ended up with a playboy as their son-in-law. He was well known in the circle for his wild ways, and no decent girl in the circle would look at him. He had thought about finding a girl from an ordinary family, but he never expected to end up with the youngest daughter of the richest man. Such a stroke of luck. He immediately called the billionaire couple Mom and Dad, being extremely affectionate. The billionaire couple naturally didn't want someone like him as their son-in-law, so they immediately denied it, saying it was just a misunderstanding, but the playboy insisted that Lin Yanko had a crush on him, otherwise why would she have entered his lounge on her own? In the end, the billionaire couple had no choice but to privately give the playboy a seaside villa worth over 10 million, and the matter was resolved. However, Lin Yank has already become a laughingstock in the circle. Forget about marrying Ji Yanze, even other scions of prominent families are out of the question for her now. This truly is a case of losing both the wife and the army. Just after leaving the airport, she saw Ji Yanze standing in front of his sports car with a bouquet of flowers, exuding an air of unrestrained confidence. He truly is a young man in fine clothes and spirited horses. I have to admit, half the reason I was drawn to him was his obedience, and the other half was his undeniable handsomeness, perfectly aligned with my aesthetic preferences. His arrogant expression instantly softened into one of sweet and well-behaved charm the moment he saw me. Coco, next time you go somewhere, take me along too. I'm so bored here all by myself. I chuckled lightly. You're not boring at all. You almost got me a brother-in-law. He raised an eyebrow smugly. That's right. If it weren't for your sake, even someone like Zhou Kong wouldn't be worthy of Lin Wanchu. I frowned. Zhou Kong is no good. He's a scumbag and a scoundrel, he sneered. Even if Zhou Kong is the worst, the women he's with are all willing and clean, but he says Lin Yan is more promiscuous than any woman he's ever been with even bigger boundaries, and she was definitely not innocent before. Suddenly, it hit me like a bolt from the blue, realizing the details I had been overlooking all along. In my previous life, Lin Yan was spotless, all because I had been protecting her and earning money to support her education, but in this life, without my protection, how did Lin Yan manage to escape the bullying from her orphanage peers, and where did she get the money to go to university? Therefore, her past is definitely not clean. Returning home in the evening, the long-lost warmth of family affection came back. The richest man served me food, and his wife ladled soup for me. It couldn't have been cozier. Coco, you've been abroad for about a week to relax and have fun. Starting tomorrow, come with us to the company and work as the project director. I blinked my eyes and pretended to be innocent as I spoke. Hasn't my sister already taken over as project director? She's been doing quite well in that role. I had a fantastic time in Milan this time and plan to travel around the world for about 6 months. Upon hearing me say this, the billionaire immediately grew anxious. That won't do. Your sister doesn't have the capability to be a project director. In just half a month since joining the company, she managed to derail all the projects. Only you have the ability to turn the situation around now. Talk to Ji Yanze and ask him to allocate a few projects to the company. Also, reach out to those companies whose projects have been put on hold. Now that your mother and I are getting older, the company will eventually have to be handed over to you. It's better for you to achieve some results early on so that the old-timers will respect you. As soon as these words were spoken, Lin Yank's face instantly turned extremely unpleasant. It seems that this time she really made too much of a fool of herself, causing the billionaire couple to give up on her. Indeed, her reputation is ruined, and the company was almost brought down, so they want me to take over now. There's no such thing without paying a price. I elegantly took a sip of the soup and spoke slowly. Mom and Dad, let's leave the company to my sister to manage. Otherwise, with constant personnel changes, everyone will have their thoughts. The richest man's wife was afraid I would really go on a trip, so she immediately spoke up. It won't change anymore. The company will be yours in the future. I'll transfer 15% of the shares to you later, and with the previous ones, you'll already have 20%. You're a major shareholder of the company. I'm very satisfied with this sincerity, but Lin Yankai was extremely dissatisfied. so angry that she didn't even eat and went straight upstairs. The richest man's wife's eyes flickered with hesitation, but she still held back from going up to comfort her and smiled at me with a flattering expression. She's been embarrassed recently and is in a bad mood. She'll be fine once she figures things out. I curled my lips into a light smile and said meaningfully, "Understood, Mom." Letting Lin yank off so easily was, of course, impossible. After finishing the meal, I knocked on her door. Seeing her swollen eyes, I smiled provocatively and disdainfully. "TSK, TSK, TSK, how pitiful. Abandoned by your own parents." Lin Yank was already angry, and my provocation only fueled her fury further. "Zhou Ran, you little wretch who was born but not raised by your parents, don't get too smug. Don't think my parents really like you. They're just using you. Once you're no longer useful, you'll be kicked out. I am their biological daughter. You can never compare to me." I sneered and said slowly, "So what if I'm using them? In the end, everything your family has will be mine. So what if you're the biological daughter? I've lived with your parents longer, and I'm more outstanding than you." They are shrewd business people, so naturally, they know how to choose, and now you're completely ruined, not only worthless but also a laughingstock. These words struck a nerve, and she erupted in fury. "Zhou Ran, you bitch, you're talking nonsense. I'll tear your mouth apart." As she raised her hand to slap me, I was quicker. My palm landed on her face the moment she moved. "You fool, if I were you, I'd be grabbing everything I could. Money, RVs, shares. The more the better, because at the company's annual meeting in 2 weeks, they'll announce me as the heir, and everything in this family will be mine. Do you know what the first thing I'll do is? It's to kick you, an outsider, out and make this place completely my home." Lin Yank was driven mad with rage by me, trembling all over, her expression venomous. "Zhou Ran, don't even think about it. I will never allow such a thing to happen." I didn't argue back, just curled my lips into a contemptuous smile. She really is foolish. Just a mix of truth and lies was enough to make her believe that the richest couple had turned against each other. Well, as the saying goes, when the upper beam is not straight, the lower ones will go aslant. She perfectly inherited the refined egoism of the richest couple, so the outcome was already predetermined. Under my provocation, Lin Yan really started to go all out in her schemes. Before, she would spend money on luxury goods, but that was just small-time stuff. Now, she wants luxury cars, mansions, and even shares. The company is already facing cash flow issues, and she's being so unreasonable. Naturally, the richest couple has even more grievances against her. Several times, I saw the richest man scolding her for being unreasonable. The richest man's wife approached her privately several times, trying to persuade her, but Lin Yank, who had long been convinced by my words, simply wouldn't believe it. She only thought the richest man's wife was stalling for time and deceiving her. The day after I received the stocks from the richest man, I entered the company, negotiated projects, signed contracts, and even pushed forward previously stalled projects, causing the company's stock that had fallen to a halt to start rising again. The richest couple became increasingly satisfied and appreciative of me. At the dinner table, they were even more warm and flattering towards me, and they carefully prepared a high-end evening gown for me to wear at the company's annual meeting. Lin Yank, seeing this, had a twisted and contorted expression. Returning to the room, I noticed the annual meeting invitation on the desk had disappeared, and I couldn't help but smile. Lin Yanko had indeed taken the bait. There's going to be a good show. This year's company annual meeting is more grand and spectacular than ever before. Not only were industry bigwigs invited, but also a number of journalists were brought in for publicity. Want everyone to know that the company is not only still standing but also thriving, and to redeem Lin Yank's reputation in the industry. But how could Lin Yank let them have their way? She made a stunning appearance in a floor-length crimson gown, warmly greeting, "Mom, Dad, my sister got stuck in traffic, so I'm late," immediately capturing the attention of everyone present. The billionaire's wife frowned with displeasure. "Why are you here? Didn't I tell you to rest at home? Go back now." Lin Yank sneered coldly. "Why should I go back? You are my parents, and this will be my company in the future. If anyone should leave, it's Zhou Ran." As she spoke, she pointed at her and raised her voice to shout, "This person's original name is Zhou Ran. She was a friend I met in the orphanage after I went missing. After learning a lot about my parents from me, she pretended to be me and was adopted by them. Over the years, She has enjoyed all the resources that should have been mine, becoming a young lady of wealth, while I had to work part-time and study hard just to barely finish college, enduring a particularly difficult life. She took away my childhood, my parents, but that wasn't enough for her. She also wants to take the company and property that should have been mine, and even drive me out of the house. She is a vicious devil, and everyone should not be deceived by her. The tone was full of resentment. Hitting the ground with a thud, the lively banquet instantly fell silent, and everyone turned to look at me, their expressions somewhat complicated. The billionaire couple's eyes showed some hesitation, their lips twitched a few times, but in the end, they chose to remain silent. After all, the company is now stable, and no matter how poorly their biological daughter performs, she is still their own flesh and blood. No matter how outstanding and capable I am still an outsider. Seeing this scene, Lin Yang's eyes were filled with a triumphant, sinister smile. She was certain that no matter how I explained, it would be useless. I hooked the corner of my lips, swept a strand of hair behind my ear, and the hacker, receiving my signal, immediately played the video. In the quiet banquet hall, the sound of heavy breathing echoed, and on the electronic screen appeared a video of Lin Yanko and a disgustingly obese middle-aged man engaging in bed activities, with a young man who looked somewhat similar standing nearby. It was a father and son duo, both participating, and they were playing particularly wild, bondage, wax dripping, and ice cubes. The banquet was filled with gasps and retches. Disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Ah, turn it off right now, Lin Yank screamed frantically, rushing onto the stage to unplug the power of the electronic screen that was playing. As soon as the screen went black, she shouted excitedly, "This is fake, this is fabricated, the person in this isn't me. I will call the police. And I will definitely find out who framed me." As soon as the words were spoken, the sound of a police siren echoed at the door. The police walked straight up to her and placed rose gold handcuffs on her wrists. "Lin Yank, you have been reported for prostitution. Please come with us." This slap in the face was swift, fierce, and accurate. Lin Yank, who had been shouting loudly just moments before, immediately fell silent, her face turning deathly pale. Seeing this scene, everyone naturally understood the truth, and their eyes filled with expressions of mockery, disdain, and disgust. The billionaire couple quickly realized what was happening and immediately made an announcement. "That person just now is indeed our daughter, but she got lost when she was young due to being mischievous. We never expected her to turn out like this. From now on, we will cut ties with her, and we will only have Coco as our daughter. Our company and all our assets will be hers." Although they have severed ties, their reputation is still at stake. To compensate me, the billionaire couple immediately announced that I would be the heir and gifted me 20% of the shares. With the shares I previously acquired at a low price, I have now become the company's largest shareholder. The first thing after becoming the president was to send the richest couple abroad to explore the market. After all, 50 is the age to take risks. As for the discomfort and susceptibility to illness in a foreign life, that's normal. It will pass with time. Lin Yen was sentenced to 3 years in prison for prostitution. Although the time was not long, making her suffer a living hell inside was as easy as turning over a hand. To prevent her from feeling lonely, I specifically arranged for day and night shifts, all filled with sexual perverts and violent maniacs. Everyone must pay for their actions, whether in a past life or this one. Half a year later, I received a letter from her, both expected and unexpected. She had also been reborn. 5 pages of lengthy text, covered in tear stains, all filled with apologies and confessions. I skimmed through it in no time and replied with, "Read." She wrote continuously for half a year, and I responded to every letter with, "Read." Then she broke down, started cursing at me, and wished I would go to hell. Still got the energy to curse at me. Seems like her days inside are still too leisurely. I had my secretary arrange for another middle shift to go in and take care of her. Half a year later, Lin Yank is seriously ill and needs to be released on medical parole. I just happened to build a new nursing home right next to the mental hospital, so I sent her straight in. After all, relying on others doesn't quite satisfy the anger. Placing her in the same ward as a madman, watching her suffer day after day, unable to live or die, only then can I feel at ease. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, There is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I've been set up by fate. I've been reborn 7 times. Each time, I was pulled back from a happy and fulfilling life to a miserable era of lacking food and clothing. Just when I had no way out and was planning to end my life, I saw a strange piece of text. Help, the world has been reborn again. Quickly awaken an NPC to save our baby girl. Baby girl was hoping to get a new mom. What's wrong with this damn world? Let baby girl awaken her memories, or she'll keep holding on to her obsessions and almost become a vengeful spirit. So I bought her for $20. The numb little girl stared at me blankly. You bought me? I'll do anything. Then let's be fiercely happy this time. Looking at the courtyard with its dilapidated walls, I was at a loss. I have been reborn 7 times. The first time, I thought I was lucky. The second time, I thought I was the chosen one. The third time, I felt a bit frantic. Anyone who has struggled for a lifetime, constantly returning from a world of abundant resources to an era with nothing at all, would find it unbearable. I felt that I might have some unfinished business, so I developed a skill and continuously did good deeds or rebirth. Later, I investigated and thought it might be because the heavens saw me living too comfortably. They wanted me to experience the hardships of raising children. So, in my previous life, I found someone to marry and had 2 sons and 2 daughters. Finally, with eyes closed, I was reborn. Heavens, what on earth is wrong with you? I smoothly bid farewell to my elderly parents and helped the villagers survive the drought. I looked at the well in the yard, tied a rope to a stone, ready to die. I clasped my hands together, praying incessantly, "Oh heavens, open your eyes and let me be reborn." Suddenly, a strange text flashed before my eyes. Help, this world has been reborn again. Who will save us, baby girl? Poor baby girl was hoping for a new mother, but she doesn't know it's still the same hateful mom. Let baby girl awaken some memories, otherwise she'll have obsessions every time, be reborn every time, and die tragically every time. She's almost becoming a vengeful spirit. Based on the chaotic chatter in the bullet comments, I roughly understood the reason this world can be reborn again and again stems from the obsession of a little girl. Li Xiaohua was born into a family that favored sons over daughters. However, after her birth, the Li couple could no longer have children. After seeking help from the village's master Huang, they finally conceived, but each time, they had a daughter. Because they couldn't have a son, the Li couple sought folk remedies everywhere. Finally, the Yellow Immortal told them it was because Li Xiaohua's birth chart was unfavorable. It was blocking the path of their son. If they wanted a son, Li Xiaohua had to die and not dare to be reborn into their family again. So Li Xiaohua was killed by her own parents, and before her death, she was unwilling and hoped to be reborn into a family that loved daughters. As a result, the world was reborn, and she was still born into the Li family, dying tragically once again. Unfortunately, she was young, full of resentment, and had no memory, so each time I feel unwilling, causing this world to keep repeating in cycles, I let out a long sigh of relief and quickly removed the hemp rope from my neck. I am the most warm-hearted person. How could I bear to see such a tragic and inhumane event occur? Poor little thing, mommy is here to save you, of course. I didn't go alone either. In this era, you need an introduction letter to go anywhere. Most importantly, it's too dangerous for a weak woman like me to travel alone. I cried and pleaded with the village party secretary. A few years ago, when I went with my parents to join the army, I gave birth to a child who was later abducted, and now I have news about her. I need to hurry and bring her back. I am a child adopted by my parents. Many years ago, a mudslide occurred in the village. My biological parents passed away, and no one in the village wanted a girl. My adoptive parents had a son in the military, so their conditions were a bit better than others, and they took me in. 5 years ago, I spent 2 years with my adoptive parents at my brother's military base. Later, my brother died in the line of duty, and we returned home. They were deeply affected by this, and their spirits have been low ever since. Thinking about it fills me with regret. If only the time of each rebirth could have been a bit earlier, I might have been able to save my brother, and my parents were already advanced in years. Even with rebirth, there was nothing that could be done. Village party secretary Old Zhang was shocked. I never heard your parents mention that. I wiped away my tears. They were trying to spare me the heartache. Old Zhang, what about your husband? Me, he's dead. Old Zhang smacked his lips a couple of times and comforted him. You and your family have had a hard life, but don't worry. I'll gather a few capable men right away. We'll definitely help you get your child back. I have a pretty good reputation in the village, mainly because I once predicted the drought, the village was prepared, and many people survived. Everyone is very grateful to me, and as soon as they heard I needed help, many were willing to put down their work. Not to mention I also cover travel expenses, accommodation, and wages. When my brother died in the line of duty, the team provided a substantial subsidy, and my parents left it all to me. Moreover, they had carpentry skills, which they passed down to me. I still have a modest amount of assets on hand, Xiao Zhang at the end of the village said with a smile. Getting paid and having the chance to go out and see the world. This is really great. I was also full of confidence, picked 5 strong and sturdy men, and we set off in a grand procession. According to the bullet comments, Li Xiaohua lives quite far from me. It takes 3 days by train, but it's just as well. To avoid any further entanglements later, after a bumpy ride, my backside was almost numb by the time we finally arrived. I quickly found the home of Master Huang, who lived in the town. Although feudal superstitions are now being eradicated, some people still seek him out. When I reached the door, I saw 2 people sneaking out through the back door. Master Huang opened his eyes, which had a downward slant, and puffed out his chubby belly. What's the matter? I put on a flattering expression and bowed as I spoke. I have long heard of the great name of the Yellow Immortal. I came from the neighboring province. I wished to purchase a girl. I casually made up a story, saying that my family is not prosperous and many have died young. The fortune teller said that my family's birth characters are too weak, so I need to buy someone with strong birth characters to protect the household. He immediately handed over $50. I heard there's a girl in Shefang village with a tough fate. She's been abandoned several times but never got rid of. Take me to see her, and I'll pay the rest after it's done. This great immortal Huang had no real skills but was well versed in the ways of human nature. Just as the Li family parents didn't want a girl, he went along with it and said Li Xiaohua was inauspicious, giving them a legitimate excuse. So he smiled and took the money, raised a string of beads and twirled them, pretending to be serious as he said, "There is indeed such a person in Shefang village, whose fate is so harsh that it displeases both parents. Perfect timing. I'll take you there myself. Consider it a good deed done." Our group rented an ox cart and arrived at the destination in no time. Shefang village looked much poorer than our own, with thatched roofs and stone houses everywhere. The people working in the fields all seemed listless and weary. We followed the great immortal Huang to a stone house. Li family's eldest son, "Come out quickly, I've brought you some good news." Upon hearing this, a couple emerged. Even in broad daylight, they weren't at work, and their clothes were disheveled. The great immortal Huang clicked his tongue twice, making babies. Li Dalong chuckled twice, looking at us with confusion. "What is this?" Master Huang twirled the beads in his hand and smiled. "That's good news, isn't it? Your family's girl can't be gotten rid of, right? I happen to have a buyer here who can take your girl off your hands." Speaking of this, Li Dalong gritted his teeth in anger. "That wretched girl is just too lucky to die. A while ago, we left her in the mountains for 2 days, and she wasn't even taken by wolves. She just ran back down the mountain on her own." Li Danyang, on the other hand, thought I was foolish. Who would want to buy a girl child these days? Who knows how many have been thrown into the mountains or rivers? Looking at her indifferent attitude, I felt sad inside. The gender imbalance decades later is because too many girls are being abandoned now. Master Huang showed an expression as if they had seen too little of the world. "You just don't understand. Just tell me if you can sell it or not." Li Dalong said straightforwardly. "Sell, of course we sell, $50, and you can take her away." It was clearly a human life, yet they were discussing it as if selling pork. After some bargaining, they finally asked me to pay $20. At noon, everyone returned home from the fields for lunch, and a small figure slowly approached at the foot of the mountain. She carried a large basket on her back, leaning on a wooden stick. As she inched forward, as she drew closer, I could see her more clearly. Aunt Lee said she was 5 years old this year, but her stature clearly fell short of that. Big head, small body, and no shoes on her feet. The trouser legs were torn and long, tied up with 2 pieces of rope. The weather in early spring was still cold. She was dressed lightly, shivering and turning red all over from the cold, expressionless. They didn't even spare a glance as we passed by. Placing the basket on the ground, Xiao Xiao called out, "Mom!" Immediately, a voice from inside the house scolded, "What are you yelling for?" you've been dawdling all morning just to dig up some wild vegetables, useless, damn it, a scolding ensued, but there was no mention of preparing lunch for her. Li Xiaohua skillfully pulled out a section of tree root, scooped some water, and rinsed it off, then she found a corner to sit down and slowly gnawed on it. The exposed ankle was no different from the tree root in her hand. Xiao Zhang shook his head in disbelief. This is just a beast. I walked over and said loudly, Auntie, the child is back, so I'll take him with me. The Li couple didn't even come out, only their impatient urging could be heard. Take him, take him. By the time I walked up to Li Xiaohua, she seemed to finally react. Lifting her head in a daze, I said softly, your mother sold you to me, come with me. She blinked mechanically, then suddenly pushed my hand away and ran toward the house. Panicked, she cried out, Mother, mother, but he was pulled out by Li Dalong, who grabbed his arm. Can't you understand human speech? Follow me, and you'll have good food and drink. Li Denyang frowned irritably. Don't call me mother, from now on, she will be your mother. The gate closed, and Li Xiaohua was left outside. She stubbornly refused to leave, just standing at the door, just like countless times before, being thrown out, then finding her own way back. She stood there for so long that even the neighbors couldn't bear to watch anymore. Then, she was scolded and dragged back home by her parents' bullet comments. Poor baby girl, even your own mother doesn't want you anymore, so stop waiting. Then he's not a good person. When will you see that clearly? Looking at the appearance of the people outside, they seem decent and probably not bad people. Baby girl, go with them. Have you lost your mind? In previous lives, there were also those who were sold off. What kind of families were those? I don't need to say more. Exactly. What decent family would buy a child? This is human trafficking. The barrage of comments chattered away, all feeling sorry for Li Xiaohua. I sighed and stepped forward, trying to take her hand. Xiaohua, your mother sold you to me for $20. You have to come with me. She looked at me fiercely, like a little wolf cub. No, I won't go with you. I'll have my mother return the money to you. As soon as the words were spoken, curses came from behind the door. You son of a bitch, once the money is in my pocket, there's no reason to give it back. Be content with the few years I've fed and raised you. Just consider yourself married off. Don't shamelessly cling on. It's because you're hogging everything that no brother dares to be born into your mother's womb. I'm being merciful by not killing you. Now get the hell out of here. Li Xiaohua shed tears of sorrow, her small hands patting the wooden door as she pleaded, Dad, Mom, Xiaohua will be more obedient and do more work. Please don't abandon me. Unfortunately, her cries did not attract any mercy. Even the neighbor couldn't bear to watch. She ran over and handed Xiaohua an egg, patting her head. Xiaohua, stop shouting. Your parents don't care whether you live or die at all. You follow the bride. As the weather grew late, Xiao Zhang was impatient. He picked up Xiaohua and placed her on the ox cart. He whispered to her, silly child, don't beg anymore. That's not your father and mother. Then he gestured toward my direction with his chin. Look, that's your real mother. Li Xiaohua was still crying. She glanced at me, then lowered her head and whispered softly, she's not. By the time we arrived in town, it was already dark. We had no choice but to spend the night at the guest house and continue our journey tomorrow. Looking at Li Xiaohua's tangled hair and dirty clothes, I was glad I had come prepared. I gave her a warm bath. I asked the front desk for a pair of scissors to cut my hair short, then put on my newly bought clothes and shoes. Li Xiaohua lowered her head, as if she had forgotten how to walk. Clip-clop, left foot stepping on right foot. I reached out and touched it, laughing. The size is a bit large. We'll buy it when you get back. She looked at me, somewhat at a loss. I could only hook it with 2 fingers to play with, twisted like a braid. I took out the malted milk powder to brew it, and then offered her the meat buns that Xiao Zhang had just bought. Come, eat. Li Xiaohua leaned in with both hands on the edge of the table, sniffing closely, fragrant, sweet, like the taste of sugar, which she had once tasted when someone in the village got married. It is the most delicious taste in the world. She was somewhat expectant, yet somewhat incredulous. A little finger pointed. Mine. I nodded firmly. Yes, yours. Seeing how small she was, I broke the meat bun in half. This way, she could eat the filling directly. I also brought over a stool for her to sit and eat. Li Xiaohua held the meat bun, feeling its soft texture. Unconsciously, I started touching it with my fingers. I quickly took 2 bites, then deliberately slowed down my chewing, afraid that the bun would disappear if I ate too slowly, yet also worried that eating too fast would mean missing out on the taste. I pushed the malted milk powder in her direction. Eat slowly, it's all yours. Li Xiaohua looked at the person under the light and couldn't help but think, this flower seller is a good person. The barrage was even more emotional than she was. Woo woo, our baby girl finally got to eat. Met a good person, a cause for celebration all over the world. Let's throw some confetti. Not sure yet, need to observe a bit more. I didn't pay attention to their inner thoughts, and asked for paper and pen to write a letter of complaint, reported Wang Tai-sin's illegal activities to the police, then had Xiao Zhang take out $12 or so to find a group of thugs, set fire to the Li family's house overnight. These people are all too despicable. I won't feel at ease without teaching them a lesson. After finishing everything, I turned off the light and went to sleep. I have to catch the train early tomorrow morning, so I need to rest early. Li Xiaohua obediently lay down with the quilt in her arms, but when I got up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, I saw that her eyes were still wide open, without a trace of sleepiness. What's wrong? Can't get used to sleeping here. She shook her head and whispered, the blanket is so soft and warm. I chuckled softly, wrapping one arm around her and covering her eyes with the other hand. All right, go to sleep now. A new day begins upon waking. With the train's whistle, Li Xiaohua followed me onto the journey. She was a bit curious, a bit uneasy, gazing bewilderedly at the giant machine she had never seen before, feeling lost about the future, yet still clinging tightly to my sleeve. Once home, she reverted to her dazed demeanor, but she was very diligent, eager to sweep the floor and wash the dishes. She would even fetch water from the well with a bucket, but I think it's too dangerous. This well at my home was built for adults. Every time I see her wobbling while carrying the bucket, my heart is in my throat. After being rejected, Li Xiaohua would sit on a stool in the yard, holding her face in her hands and gazing into the distance. It seems she has no need for play at all, so I took out the wood and made a heart-shaped stool and a cute rocking horse and an elephant-shaped toothbrush cup. Li Xiaohua originally didn't pay attention, as her parents had told her since childhood, children should not meddle in adults' affairs, but looking at those small objects, their size clearly matched hers. She hesitated for a long time, but in the end, she couldn't resist. She took small, quick steps and ran over to ask, who are these for? I tilt my head and hand her the elephant cup. Of course it's for you. Li Xiaohua stares in shock, her fingers touching the long trunk, then the heart-shaped back of the chair. Immediately, she starts spinning around wildly, as if she had eaten some wild mushrooms. It's not like that. No family would prepare these things for a girl. Girls have to take care of their younger brothers and do household chores. It's not like this. It's not like this. I watched her spin around while shouting, worried she might faint. I quickly stopped her. Don't you like it? Li Xiaohua tightly held the cup with both hands, softly repeating, I like it, I like it. Then she looked up at me with tears in her eyes. You bought me, and I'll do whatever you want me to do. I looked up, wiped her tears, and touched her forehead with my cheek, then, be fiercely happy. From that day on, the most frequent thing Li Xiaohua did was no longer sitting on the doorstep in a daze. She had her own daily routine. After brushing her teeth in the morning, she would prop up her little elephant cup. Its long trunk would reach into my cup, pour a glass of water and let the little elephant drink, then sit on the heart-shaped stool and play with the tangram for a while. Finally, ride the rocking horse and rock back and forth wildly. The straight bangs dance along, and the newly grown cheek flesh bounces with each movement. Bouncing rhythmically, I watch her stereotypical behaviors, like those of a small animal in a zoo, and feel a bit heartbroken. I want her to go out and play, but I'm afraid she might get bullied. However, children have their own set of rules for making friends. Even though Xiaohua doesn't go out, there are always curious people drawn to come and see her. After all, such a rocking horse is the only one in the whole village. Hello, my name is Xiaoya. Can we play together? Finally, someone couldn't resist and took the initiative to invite her. Xiaohua pursed her lips and looked at her, shaking her head in refusal. Xiaoya didn't get annoyed. She just squatted nearby and watched. She waited until Xiaohua finished playing, then went up to give it a shake, and just like that, she made her first friend. Today, Xiaoya invited her to go to the back mountain to dig for wild vegetables. The children don't work in the fields, but activities like digging for wild vegetables are quite common. It's both fun and productive. Xiaoya brought out a small basket tied with a floral cloth strip from the room. She slung it over her little arm and waved to me. Mom, I'm heading out. Watching the two little girls walk away hand in hand, my hands moved even faster as I carved the wood. Life just keeps getting better and more hopeful, but who would have thought that in less than 2 hours, Xiaohua would come back crying. The barrage was filled with heartache. Oh dear, our baby girl was scared. What a beast. It's a newborn child after all. It turned out that a family had given birth to a child, but it was a girl, and they didn't want her, so they abandoned her in the mountains. Just then, they were spotted by the group of children digging for vegetables. Xiaohua was very sad, looking at me with confusion. Mom, why does no one want a girl? We are clearly obedient and sensible. I can't explain this. Perhaps boys represent labor force and the continuation of the family line in traditional beliefs. I just patted her head and said, don't be sad. When your generation grows up, life will be better for girls. They will grow up healthy under the support of your generation. For several days in a row, Xiaohua had been feeling a bit down. I took the opportunity to take her to the town to change her mood. The town had a supply and marketing cooperative and a state-run restaurant. We ordered dumplings and braised pork. While waiting for the meal, I suddenly heard a commotion outside. Xiaohua craned her neck to look out. A woman was squatting on the ground, holding onto an elderly woman's leg. Mother, if you don't care for me, you might as well let me die. The aunt spat out a mouthful of saliva. Pa, go ask around in the surrounding villages, who has a divorced woman in their family. Your father and I would have no place to hide our faces. The woman raised her head, revealing her bruised face, yet her figure remained tall and imposing. How can you blame me? That deadbeat drinks and hits people every day. He even goes after the widows in the village. The aunt rolled her eyes and shook off her hand. You're so big and strong. How could he possibly beat you to death? We finally married you off. How could we take you back? Besides, if you can't keep your man happy, how can you stop him from looking elsewhere? If he dumps you, you can just find another man to marry. I can't go home now. There's no house for you to live in, no food for you to eat. After saying that, the aunt turned and ran away, completely ignoring the calls behind her. Xiaohua held her face in her hands and sighed like a little old man. Ah, another abandoned girl. I smiled and rubbed her cheek, asking, what can we do? She's already married off. Xiaohua said seriously, but she's not happy. Her husband doesn't want her anymore, so we have to bring her back home. A guest nearby heard her words and burst into laughter. You're talking nonsense, little girl. As the saying goes, a married daughter is like spilled water. Besides, how embarrassing would a divorce be? Bringing her back home would make the whole family lose face. My sisters-in-law and younger brothers' wives all have their opinions too. Xiaohua didn't understand. Once a daughter is married off, she's no longer your daughter. The old man shook his head mysteriously. Once she's married off, she belongs to someone else's family. Xiaohua quickly turned to look at me and said seriously, then I won't get married in the future. The old man laughed again and said, how can you not get married? Can you stay at home for the rest of your life? Your brothers still need to marry wives. Upon hearing this, Xiaohua's lips twitched, on the verge of tears, and she uttered a famous saying from later generations, that girl has no home. Yes, a girl has no home. In the first half of her life, she stays at her parents' home, spending the latter half of my life living in my husband's home, and in old age, staying at my children's house, just never having a home of my own. But it's okay. I looked down at the little flower. You have a home, and my home will always be yours. Only then did she break into a smile, snuggling into my arms. Mom, you're so good. Watching the woman walk away dejectedly outside the door, I then urged Xiaohua to hurry up and eat. There is a faint thought in my heart. Given her tall stature, she must be quite strong. She should be able to handle farm work too. Just thinking about this gives me a headache. My adoptive parents were skilled carpenters, and I inherited their craft well. Whenever someone in the village was getting married, they would come to me to have a set of cabinets made. The income was quite substantial, and life was comfortable and enjoyable, unlike others in the village, who would be frugal even when having a meal with meat. But it just so happens that there's no man in the house, which has caught the attention of those around. Without a man, how will you manage your land? What will you eat? Renting it out to others won't do. They'll just be lazy and idle. buying food to eat is no good, it's a waste of money, not married, not complete, let me introduce someone to you. If you don't get married, you won't know who to spend all that money on, so just get married, anyway. It's all about me, my family's house, and my money. There's this inexplicable sense of possessiveness, after being reborn so many times. I'm sick of hearing it, but having an extra pair of hands at home is truly necessary. Mom, it's delicious. Xiaohua buried her face in the bowl, busily eating non-stop. Her face was smeared with soup, making her look like a little kitten. Eat more if it's delicious, and eat slowly, she nodded, showing no trace of her former dazed appearance. I felt a bit dazed, yet somewhat proud. Such a beautiful little girl, and I raised her. After finishing the meal, I looked around but couldn't find the woman. Just as I was wondering, I saw the bullet comments shaking rapidly. Hurry to the riverbank, that woman is about to take her own life. Oh my, it's just a divorce, no need, no need. It's easy for you to say that. In their time, divorce was a huge deal. Exactly. Her husband's family didn't want her, and her own family didn't want her either. She had nowhere to go. Hearing this, I was so startled that I picked up Xiaohua and ran toward the river. The woman was walking numbly into the water, with half of her legs already submerged. I quickly shouted, "Sister, come back quickly, don't do anything rash." But I was physically weak and holding a child. My voice cracked so much that the words were barely audible. Fortunately, the woman heard me and turned around in confusion. After a few steps ashore, she ran towards me again. "Sister, what's wrong with you?" I was puzzled. "Wasn't it you who wanted to end your life? Why are you asking me what's wrong?" She let out an "oh," and said, "It seems like you need help. I'll help you before I die." This person is quite kind-hearted. I looked at her nearly 6-foot-tall figure and asked, "How's your strength?" "Strong." The woman smiled again and lowered her head, murmuring, "Average." I was a bit skeptical and reached out to feel the muscles on her arm. Although a bit thin due to insufficient nutrition, he was still quite sturdy. "Impossible. You clearly look like someone who's good at hard labor." The woman took a deep breath, her shoulders sinking in disappointment. All right, I am indeed very strong. Don't make fun of me. My mother dislikes how much I eat at home, and the man she found for me complains that I lack charm. I'm going to end my life now, so I won't be a bother to anyone anymore." With that, she rushed toward the riverbank, nearly knocking me over. I shouted, "Don't do that, sister. If they don't want you, I do. You are the treasure of us women. Don't let yourself be provoked to death by a few words from others." The woman was somewhat skeptical. "Don't you try to fool me. My mother says there's no woman like me. I eat more than an ox, and I look more manly than a man. My husband even says he sees me like the neighbor's brother." I grabbed her sleeve, panting heavily from exhaustion. I stuffed the little flower into her arms. "Huff, that's because they're not worthy of you. They're deliberately slandering you. You're better than all of them, and they're afraid." A glimmer of light appeared in the woman's eyes. "Really?" I nodded vigorously, with utmost sincerity. "Truer than gold." Then I stated my purpose. "Since neither your husband's family nor your own family wants you, why don't you come with me? I'm a widow, raising a child alone. I'm afraid others might not treat my child well, so I don't plan to remarry. I can earn money, but I'm not very strong. You happen to be strong. Would you be willing to farm the land for my family?" The woman seemed not to have expected this, but she nodded vigorously. "All right, I can farm. I used to do all the farming for my family." "That's perfect. My name is Yuawali." She then pointed to the child in her arms. "Her name is Li Xiaohua. And you?" The woman shyly touched her head. "My name is Chen Suifan." I laughed loudly. "A good name." Then I took the backpack off my back. "Can you carry it?" The backpack, which was a bit heavy for me, she lifted with just one arm. "Yes." I took out 2 steamed buns I had packed from the restaurant and gave them to her. "Eat up." Chen Suifan sniffed them and exclaimed in surprise, "Meat buns? No, these are for men to eat. I'll just have the plain steamed buns." I forcefully stuffed it into her hand. "Why can't a woman eat it?" "Eat it. Besides, there are no men in our family, so the money should be spent on women." Chen Suifan hesitated for a moment. Seeing that I really wanted her to eat it, she then devoured a large meat bun in just a few bites. She felt a bit embarrassed and smiled awkwardly. "I haven't eaten for several days." Hearing this, I took out 2 more and gave them to her. "Then eat more. You need to eat well to have strength." Then Then she lowered her head and started crying again. This is the first time someone has told me to eat more. At home, I do the most work, but everyone still complains that I eat too much. Sis, you're really kind. I sighed and patted her shoulder. It's okay, it's all in the past now. In my family, women should eat heartily and enjoy their meat, and I truly did not misjudge the person. Chen Suifan went to the fields the next day, tilled the land, and earned full work points. She really could eat, with an open appetite capable of consuming a whole pot of rice. Fortunately, I could afford to support her. With her, life at home became even better. Other men wouldn't even lift a finger to pick up a fallen soy sauce bottle at home. After working in the fields, she could still manage to clean the entire house, and there were no troubles with mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationships. There's no rogue or scoundrel who can beat her. It truly couldn't be better. The villagers all said we were outrageous, but we didn't care at all. I just never expected that Li Xiaohua would give me a fright. That day, she went out to play alone, but when she returned, there were two people. She was holding a newborn baby in her arms. Where did you get her from? She pointed toward the back of the mountain. Someone abandoned a baby girl again. Then, with a hint of pride, she added, but this time I saw it, so I brought her back. Now she won't have to die. I was at a loss. Who's going to take care of her? Xiaohua raised her hand. I'll take care of him. I felt a bit helpless and crouched down to explain it clearly to her. Xiaohua, I know you mean well, but raising a child isn't that simple. Although this child is pitiful, there are so many abandoned children. You can't save all the children. Moreover, if people find out that our family is taking in unwanted children, even more children will be abandoned at our doorstep. So I took her to send the child to the village party secretary's house, asking him to find the child's parents. The old man from that family stood at the door and cursed for a long time. Damn it, you're the only one who's so kind-hearted. Our family doesn't have enough food to raise a girl. I can do whatever I want with my own kid. It's none of your business. I didn't bother arguing with her. You can't reason with that kind of old woman, so I had Chen Suifan chop firewood with a hoe at the door, and it quickly quieted down. I thought the matter was over, but not even 2 days had passed. Xiaohua brought the child back again. I looked at her helplessly as she held the child tightly in her arms. This time they abandoned her by the river. Next time who knows where they might leave her. No, I can't save everyone, but saving even one is better than none. She looked at me with eager eyes. I know. There's already one child in the family. Let her be my own daughter, and I'll take care of her. Okay, I couldn't help but laugh. But you're only 5 years old yourself. She can't be your daughter. I can only be your sister. Unexpectedly, she shook her head stubbornly. No, sisters get married off by mother. She is my daughter, and mother cannot interfere with her marriage. Childish words, yet filled with seriousness, because her good friend Xiaoya was just like that, with another child born in the family. She could no longer go out to play. She could only take care of her younger brother, and her mother had already arranged a marriage for her early on. She would be married off as soon as she reached the right age to help support the family. Xiaohua kept her word. In the following days, she was so busy that she didn't even have time to go out and play, spending every day taking care of the child. She really acted like a mother, and when Chen Suifan found out, she didn't stop her at all. The two of them were happily busy every day. I shook my head as I planed the wood, truly at a loss with them, but perhaps it is precisely because of this that girls, generation after generation, become better. The barrage was also filled with screens of people crying uncontrollably. Woo-woo, girls are so wonderful. I can only make more furniture to earn some extra money. As expected, some villagers started making sarcastic remarks after they found out. They said there was something wrong with my head. Treating a girl like a treasure, they said I should have spent that effort adopting a boy to secure my future. That mother-in-law even came to my door, saying I should pay them for the child. If I hadn't lost the child, would you have a child to raise? How utterly shameless. There's no way around it. In this day and age, people are both simple and cunning. Just as Xiaohua reached the age to start school, I simply moved to live in the town. It's just that Chen Suifan felt quite empty after suddenly having no land to farm. Every day, I carried Yuzizi to pick up Xiaohua. Xiaohua has now changed her name to Yu Xiaohua, and Yuzizi is her child. She said that gardenia sounds very nice and pairs perfectly with her name. I'm really a bit overwhelmed, this complex relationship and names, yet Chen Suifan still clapped her hands like a fool, cheering them on. Yuzizi stumbled unsteadily over the threshold. She looked up at me. Then at Chen Suifan opening her mouth, she spoke in a sweet, childish voice, "Grandma, Grandpa, my vision went dark, don't call them that." Time flew by, and soon Yuezhi was also about to start school. She hadn't learned any of Xiao Hua's good qualities at all, spending all day walking around with a stick, chasing chickens and dogs. Looks like she's heading in the same direction as Chen Suifan. The teacher took her 0-mark test paper and wanted to call her parents. She picked up Xiao Hua and went over. The teacher smiled bitterly and scolded me after school. Gardenia's parent, you need to instill proper generational relationships in your child. I also smiled bitterly. I've said it 800 times, they just wouldn't listen. Furious, I picked up a stick, ready to give Yuezizi a complete childhood, but Xiao Hua stopped me, telling me with a serious face, please don't engage in intergenerational education. And so, life continued in a chaotic and bizarre way. The only good news was learned from the bullet comments. Master Huang was shot dead by the police long ago. Xiao Hua's biological parents were never able to have another child afterward. They wanted to find Xiao Hua, but had no way to get in touch. On a snowy winter night, the heavy snow collapsed the roof, and she died. As for Xiao Hua, after Zizi grew up, she even established a charity organization. It specializes in helping girls living in difficult circumstances, ensuring they have clothes to wear and access to education. On my deathbed, I looked at the large family around me. I asked, Xiao Hua, are you happy? She nodded with reddened eyes. I closed my eyes contentedly as well. Finally, I can die. Postscript, the happiest thing in Xiao Hua's life was the year her mother bought her. So when a god asked her, do you want to start over? She nodded without hesitation. She still wants to be her mother's daughter. And when I opened my eyes again and saw the familiar ceiling, I packed my luggage and headed straight there. My dear daughter, what unfulfilled wishes do you still have? As a result, I saw Xiao Hua obediently squatting at the doorstep. Mom, I've been waiting for you for so long. It was just a dream, no do-overs. That's great. Wishing all girls a brilliant future. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.